10 minutes.
Okay, we're going to go live here in just a second.
Okay.
Okay. What is going on this morning? I think Zoom's having some problems. It's not us. I'm just going to say that. Okay, it says that we're live, so let's just go live. Good morning. I'm Hillary Strong with the SBDC here at Yavapai College, and we do a coffee chat every other week, kind of a quick down and dirty Facebook Live to give you some tips and some good things to get your day started and hopefully help you with your business. So today we have a special guest, Cyndi Uelen. Cyndi Uelen Coaching is our guest today. She's going to be talking about goals. She's a coach for individuals and businesses, and she's going to be helping us out today with some tips for the new year and how to really dive into our goals. And we're so glad to have you here. Welcome, Cyndi.
Thanks, Hillary. Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
So 6 steps, right? 6 steps to achieve your goals. Is that it?
So I'm going to talk about the 6 steps to achieving your impossible goal. And I thought before I dive into those 6 tips that I'd give just a little bit of distinguishing between why we have possible goals and impossible goals and why I call it an impossible goal. And so I define a possible goal as something that you go after. It's a goal that maybe is new or something you've done in the past, but you know that you can achieve it because you've done it before. So if your business has generated a certain type of revenue, if you are hiring X amount of employees, if you are trying to lose weight, or if you're going after starting a business, whatever that goal might be for you, you have done it before, so you know it's possible. The impossible goal is something that you have not achieved before, and really truly in your belief system, you don't believe it's possible. So if you had a revenue goal of $50,000, I'm just using this for an example, but you want to level up your business to 100,000, for example, or go from 500,000 to $1 million, that feels impossible. And it's the roadblocks and the belief systems that you have behind that in order to move forward. You have to believe or grow into the belief that it is possible. And so the impossible goal, when I think about it, is ask yourself, do you have a goal that you want to go after this year? And maybe it is that revenue goal, maybe it is losing weight, whatever that goal might be for you. Attaching a number that feels impossible and the belief around it is impossible comes up for all of us. And the reason is because it makes us feel uncomfortable. So the impossible goal is something that you truly don't yet believe is possible. It's something that gives you discomfort. And it is also something that is built on a pile of failures. And when I say failures, I'm saying learning attempts. And so a lot of people think that failures is associated with a negative connotation, but it's attempts to try things. And it's taking action until you get the results you want. And failures are really just learning opportunities. And so, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a good way to spin that around. It's, if you don't put a lofty goal, something, how are you ever going to get there? You got to have something to reach for, right?
Right. And many of us have this goal that we've been wanting to go after for a very long time, yet there's something holding us back. Maybe it's an obstacle. We have families and kids, and we are very busy. But a lot of people wear busyness like a badge. And I like to think of it as you can go after your goal and still have your priorities, including those that are most important to you, your values in life, and still go after your personal and professional goals. And so I would just ask everybody to take a step back and think about, do you have a goal that you would be thrilled to accomplish, but yet you haven't been going after it because you don't believe it's possible? So I would give the example of myself buying a home to retire in. Well, I should say my husband retired, and it felt impossible to really go after that, especially during COVID and the market just being so crazy. But I accomplished it. And it was through that goal setting process. I would give the example of transitioning out of corporate America and starting my own coaching and training business. And that felt impossible, yet I went after it and it's flowing. My biggest example was something personally. It was the first time I applied the impossible goal process, and that was losing weight. And I remember thinking, oh, it's possible to lose X amount of weight, but it's impossible to get to this number. And it felt impossible. Absolutely. Never thought I could do it. And I set a goal for myself and did the process that I'm going to talk about now. And I achieved it. But the impossible goal is really about the journey. It really is about the little steps, the action steps you take to get to the result you want. So really, it's the daily actions, the weekly actions that you take.
Yeah, I think everybody's, for example, the new year, everybody sets New Year's resolutions, right? And, how do you of us keep to those? Because we're not doing the daily, weekly, the work, shall I say, to work on those. I mean, that's one of the things that we offer in our services, and I'm sure you do in yours, is that constant attention and checking in and talking about how to get there. I mean, we're doing a lot of goal setting here. I'm sure that's probably a big part of what you're doing in your business right now too, the new year. I think it's a good time to kind of step back, see. Sometimes you have to congratulate people, the little steps, what they've accomplished in the last year, in their business, that they started a business. This is very exciting. And, just celebrating those moments along the way is part of that journey, right?
Yes, it really is. And interesting enough, many people set New Year's goals, New Year's resolutions. And actually, the second Friday I read is National Quitters Day. So it's a day where most people do lose that steam. And so how do we keep going when things get tough, when our business doesn't do as well as we thought it was going to in the beginning of the year? So we lose steam. And how do we keep going? And the only difference between people who achieve an impossible goal and the people who don't are the people who quit. And that is just something to really be cognizant of is how do we keep motivated? How do we keep going until we get the results we want? And that's the purpose of the 6 steps that I'm going to talk about, because you're getting a snapshot of them today. And we can go much deeper, but the highlights of these will create an ultimate shift in the mindset of, how can I keep going? And when I do feel like quitting, how can I keep going when I can't get outside to continue exercising? Or how can I keep going when the doors are open in the business and I don't have the traffic flow in my business, or the revenue numbers when I close out my books for the month? How can I keep going when I've tried 50 sales calls and I haven't closed a deal, for example? So those are just some things to really think about.
Yeah, a reflection. I think it's important to, and we all have to find different motivators. I mean, I talk to businesses all the time saying, you need a tribe around you. We're here for you. Someone like you who does coaching is here for you. Mentorship. It's very important that you have support from other peers, other small businesses, going to the chamber mixers. I mean, these are all opportunities, and we all do it in our own way, but we have to help ourselves, right?
Yes, Absolutely. So I can dive into the 6 steps and I'll go through these pretty quickly, and
Okay,
then
great.
want to stop me along the way, that's great too. So step one is really to do like a brain dump of all of the goals that you are interested in achieving for the year, or what are your 10, 5, 1 year goals. I like to set different types of goals, but my impossible goal is always focused on what do I want to achieve this year. And so I'll give my examples based on that today, but you can apply these whether you have a 6-month or 5-year. The same process does apply. So when I think about the brainstorm, it's called step one, is just like I said, do a brain dump, take a piece of paper and write down all of the different goals that you want to achieve for the year, 5 years, and just get them down on paper. And then what I want to do is kind of prioritize those. And these are both personal and professional goals. But again, I'm going to throw out that question again, is there an impossible goal that you would be thrilled to accomplish, yet you don't yet believe it? Because typically for the impossible goal, that's the one you're going to choose. That is the one you should pick, which is really step two. Step two is pick one and only one. And so what I get is, well, I have two. I have a business goal and I have a personal goal. Which one should I choose? The power of constraint and the power of constraining to one to learn and achieve the process of the impossible goal, to learn the skills to achieve it and take the different action steps along the way is the process. And so what I say is, well, you haven't achieved it yet. So learn this process and then go after other goals later. But for 2023 going forward, what is the one goal that would make all the difference? What is the one goal that would have the greatest impact on your life and level up you in a way that would just, that you really dream about? And so pick one and only one. The power of constraint is definitely needed when it comes to picking that goal. You're going to still have other goals. You're still going to have business goals and goals with the family and significant others and travel goals and all these other goals. But if you just pick one goal for 2023 that you're going to go all in on this process, I promise.
All in. Yeah.
All in.
The fear factor. I find that people are, it's fear.
Yeah. So when I said the lean into discomfort, that's when it comes up. So you're going to pick one goal, you people pick one goal, impossible goal. And guess what happens? Your brain is going to tell you all the different things of why you shouldn't do it. It's going to want to complain, and it's going to give you all the different excuses. And the ones that come up most frequently is, I've never done this before. I can't do this. I don't have time. The biggest one, I wrote it down, is I don't know how. We want to know how to do something before we even get started. But really, we need to do it the other way. Claim your goal and don't claim being busy. Busyness is just like wearing it as a badge of honor. We have the time and we can learn how, and the how becomes along the way. So when you think about when you pick your goal, you're going to pick the deadline. And so typically for me, I say midnight, December 31st, 2023. And how will I know I get there? So if it's a revenue goal, you'll have, your bank statements and your accounting processes to tell you. If it's a sales goal, you'll have your spreadsheet with your numbers to identify how many sales calls you did. For example, weight loss, the scale is a great indicator, especially if it's digital. You can jump on the scale as well. So there's different ways that you can attain that. And then number 3, step 3, when your brain does this freeze, it's going to tell you all the reasons why it's impossible. Write them all down. So really, it's getting that piece of paper. You're going to write them all down on the left-hand side of a piece of paper. Actually, I have a workbook. If somebody reaches out and wants to actually go through the workshop, I provide a workbook that has this all laid out. But for purposes of our time together, it's a simple worksheet where you list all of the reasons I can't do this. I'm not good enough sometimes comes up when we're looking at progressing in our career. I don't know how. And so what you do is you let your brain whine. It's going to do that. The human brain looks to find all the reasons why we can't do something and getting those out on paper, and then identifying what are some of the strategies that I can do? What are the different strategies or new beliefs that I can set myself up for, which is really step number 5, is how can we overcome all of these self-limiting beliefs? So if I don't know how is one of my obstacles, one of my strategies is I'm going to learn how.
Yeah, how can I learn? Right.
Yeah, how can I learn?
What can I do?
What can I do? What actions can I take? What classes can I take? Technology and learning how to automate emails for me, building a website. Those were all obstacles for me when I first started, and overcoming those felt daunting, but I had to lean into the fear. I had to lean into the discomfort. So you have to identify what is the emotion coming up for you that is holding you back, because there is a feeling, there is an emotion. Maybe it's self-doubt, maybe it's lack of self-confidence. Just being in fear is one that comes up the most. But when I talk about failing, I'm talking about failing in a way that you learn how to take different action so that you get there. So part of step number 5 is taking that action, and you have to keep taking different actions. So if you have a business or you're doing sales, for example, or losing weight, you got to keep taking action and doing those until you get the results you want. So really the next step is what are the different things I'm going to try? I call them the 25 epic fails. And those 25 epic fails are what you're going to write down that you're going to try for the quarter. And it's going to be a huge list. Maybe you have 50 things, maybe you only have 10, but build towards what are the 25 things I'm going to do and try. Like you said, if you're trying to get, more customers, for example, it's going to the different networking events, and some work, some don't, but it's also building rapport with people. It's posting on social media and trying different social media outlets, for example. So there's different things that you need to try in order to get there. And so what happens is you go to a networking meeting and you meet people, but you have to keep going until maybe you do drive more traffic, or you get an opportunity to partner with doing business with them, for example.
Nothing happens overnight. It's all those baby steps.
Exactly. They're called the 1%ers, which I'm going to get into next, which is after you identify those 25 epic fails, which are the attempts, the tries, the to-dos that you're going to do for the quarter, you're going to break that down. What am I going to focus on for this month and try this month? You'll break that down into what am I going to do this week? And so going to the calendar on the chamber, going to what's happening in our Quad City, for example, and not just networking, but what's going on. What are the mixers that are happening? There's different ways that you can meet people, tell them what you do, and tell them how you can help them. But it's the 1% things that you can do each day. What people want to do is if they have a revenue goal and they do the math and break it down per month, and they don't make their sales for that month, it's like, well, I'm already off for the year. And don't look at it, it's only math. Don't look at it as I haven't, because you might have a month, 3 months later where it's a revenue super generating month.
Absolutely. And you have to, part of having a business and even in, life is we all mess up. We all have failures. That's how we learn, but you have to go forward.
Right.
Continue those little steps every day. And go, okay, this didn't work. Let me try this, or let me try this. And
Right. It's modifying what you're doing every day, which really step number 3, or excuse me, the last step in the process really is about when you break it down from the month to the week to the day, creating a power morning method to start your day focused on your goal. And so every day when I get up, and it's part of my journaling, and I'll tell you, I wasn't a big journaler. And when I first kind of started in the process of owning my own business, or even before that, but the power of your brain in the morning when it's super fresh is every single day I write down not only my goal and what it is, but I write down the 3 reasons why that goal is important to me, the 2 reasons why I'm equipped to achieve it, and what's the one thing I'm going to do, either big or small, what's my 1% that I'm going to do today that is going to move me closer to my goal. And like I said, it could be something as short as posting on social media, or it could be something as, doing something on the radio, or advertising in one of the local magazines, for example. So you have to try the different things, and we keep thinking in our mind that, gosh, I've tried everything. Nope, you haven't. Keep trying, and keep taking those actions until you get the results that you want.
Well, and I think one thing we do as a team, we have team meetings every week, and we all have goals, and we're held accountable to the team. And a lot of weeks that flew out the window and something else came up, but it keeps us on task, and it keeps us accountable to each other and motivated. And, we have small wins, and that's good. These are all good things.
Yeah. So when and that's great, because when you kind of hit a key point is, you're going to have some wins, but you're either winning or you're learning. And
right. There's no losing. There's no losing in baseball. There's only learning.
Right, exactly. So when I think about the 6 steps to achieving your impossible goal is, just to recap those again, is the brainstorm, is writing down all of the different goals, and then which one do you feel will have the biggest impact. Step 2 is pick one and only one. And it's the power of that constraint. And if you really do have 2 conflicting goals, take a coin and flip it. And that's going to be your impossible goal. It's as easy as that. Make a decision and go all in. And step 3, again, is all the reasons why it's impossible. Write them down. And then what you'll do in step number 4, what are the strategies to overcome that? So it's on the left-hand side, you'll write down all the obstacles, draw an arrow to the right-hand side, and those are your strategies. What's the one strategy to overcome that obstacle? And then what are the actions that you plan to take, which is step number 5. Those are those 25 epic fails that you're going to do, those attempts, the things you're going to try. For Q1, break it down to the month, to the week. And then step 6 is that 3-2-1 power morning method, which is what are the 3 things I'm going to do, reasons why this goal is important to me, the 2 reasons why I'm equipped to do it, and what's the one thing I'm going to do today. And that will keep you focused daily on achieving that goal. It's really about the process. It's really about the daily actions. So your actions are not impossible. Your actions are doable things, the commitments and the actions you're going to take, but those aren't impossible. The impossible goal, and through the process, your belief systems will start to turn. You'll start to believe this is possible. You'll start to see momentum. But just remember that don't look for evidence. So what happens is we start to look at our books or our data in our accounting system, and it's not showing us evidence. We'll get on the scale, for example, and it's not showing, a weight loss. And so we get frustrated. Again, it's taking action, even when we don't see the scale move or the revenue coming in, because it will come. Take the action, keep taking action until you get the results you want.
Wow. Well, thank you, Cyndi. Those were some great tips. And yes, if you're struggling and need help, I would contact Cyndi. And, that's just it. We all have to ask for help. We all need help in different ways. And if you want to move your business forward and your personal life too, it could be weight, it could be relationships, all those things. Sometimes they all tie in together. So thank you, Cyndi, so much for sharing your coaching wisdom with us this morning. And I will be popping in Cyndi's information in the comments after this live, and we really appreciate you being with us today. Let me tell you a little bit about the SBDC. We're funded by Yavapai College and the Small Business Administration. We host workshops and webinars and do lives like this on a regular basis. I would say 99% of them are free. You can also go to our website at yc.edu/SBDC, and we have a lot of our webinars and trainings already recorded and on demand, and those are also free. We would like to, if you want to sign up for our services, again, you can go to our website. It's a big green button, and we appreciate that. We want to be here for you. We cover 6 of our team. We cover Yavapai County, and so we are all over the county and would love to meet with you if you are wanting to start a business, if you're wanting to expand a business, please need financing, business plans, all of that, please reach out to us. Thank you for joining us today. Tell your friends to follow our page. We're always doing fun, exciting things, and we'd love to work with you. So have a great day. Thanks so much. Thanks again, Cyndi. Bye-bye.